Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Peter K, but you can call me your finance PT. Now, you've probably noticed over the last couple of months that the cost of living has increased tremendously. If you haven't noticed it, I'm sure that you've read articles about it, you've seen on social media that inflation is at an all-time high. In the UK, inflation was rated as of the 19th of January 2022 at 5.4%, which if you know anything about inflation, that is a very, very high amount. The Bank of England tends to aim for a rate of 2% for inflation. So the fact that we're actually double that plus extra is actually pretty crazy. So this is something that's definitely going to affect most of us over the next couple of months. And I know in many ways the cost of living is going to increase even further as we go throughout the year, which is why I decided let me create this video where I can share a couple of tips with you about things you can practically do in order to protect your finances during this time. For a lot of people that have limited incomes, it's going to be a struggle. And I think at this time, it's so important for us to be intentional with our finances, because if you are not intentional with how you manage your money during this time, you are definitely going to be impacted even more so by this cost of living increase. So now let me get into the video and share these practical tips with you. Now, the first tip I want to start off with, which is the foundation, is get intentional with your money. If you're the kind of person that you're very disorganized with how you manage your money, you just kind of spend money and hope for the best, now is the time, now is the best time, if any, to really get in control of your finances. Now is the time to start getting organized. And it doesn't mean that you need to change massively every single thing that you're doing. But the most important thing is to plan, to know what you want to spend your money on. Because if you've noticed, when you don't make a plan, you're going to end up spending a lot more money than you intend to. Even sometimes when you do plan and do budget, you can find that you end up veering away from where you have actually initially planned. So the most important thing right now is get intentional with your finances. If you are unsure of how much your total bills are, now is the time to really sit down, go through your bank transactions, have a look at what are your expenses each month, the standing orders, direct debits you're paying, subscriptions that you may be paying for that you're actually not using. Now is that time to really do that deep clean, to really have a look at where your money is going each month. So if you're unsure of that, this is the time for you to do that and get organized. So have a look, review your expenses. If you watch any of my videos before, you know I always talk about that, but I think it's very important. Sometimes we are spending a lot more money on things than we actually do realize we are. So definitely take that time to go through your expenses, to see what you're paying for, and to see, are there things you're paying for right now that you're not actually utilizing that you can cancel and maybe replace with other alternatives? Are there things that you're paying for that you're not using the services? That sort of thing. Again, that's not going to apply for everyone. You might have a very tight budget and perhaps you only pay for your essentials. In that case, that's obviously not going to help you. But for those of you that may be your case, that you actually don't know, you just pay and hope for the best, that is definitely a starting point. So get organized, be intentional. If you don't already, each month, set out a monthly spending plan. I'm really trying to stray away from the word budget because I do know from speaking with clients, many people hate hearing the word budget. And also if my voice sounds a little bit different, I'm recovering from a cold. So I'm a little bit blocked up, but I really wanted to get this video out and I didn't want it to stop me. So here I am, a bit nasally, but I hope that you will enjoy this video and I hope you'll find it useful. So as I was saying, start planning. If you do not plan, and as the saying goes, failure to plan is planning to fail, make sure you start to plan before you get paid. Take that time out, see it as a financial health check that you do weekly or that you do monthly. So planning out what you would like to spend your money on. Again, your bills is more or less going to be the same each month. But in terms of the things that are your flexible expenses, such as your groceries, things that you buy for your house, maybe things that you buy for your children or even yourself, self-care items, personal care items, that sort of thing, set out a budget and decide how much you want to spend on those things. When you live in a very fast-paced life, it can be very easy to rely on convenience things such as eating out, and that can really add up a lot of money. So now is the time to get intentional, get organized, and to start creating monthly spending plans. So if that's something you don't have the habit of doing, start working on that and making it a habit. It's going to make such a difference. I couldn't start off with any other tip than starting with that, because that is the basic, that is the foundation. If you do not master that particular thing, you're going to struggle with the others. So that's the foundation. Remember, get intentional with your money, start creating a monthly spending plan, and most importantly, start tracking how you're actually spending. If you're the kind of person that you like working with pen and paper, get yourself a notebook and start writing down your purchases. If you're someone like me, I prefer electronic. I like working with Excel spreadsheets, which is why I use my personal finance and budgeting tracker. I will definitely drop it in the I was going to say show notes, but this is not a podcast. I will definitely drop it in the description box. And if you want, you can grab yourself a copy. Again, it's super useful for me in terms of planning my budget and also updating what I spend. And at the end of each year, I'm able to see how much I've spent on different things and also throughout the year as I actually upload my figures. So that's another option. But of course, there are also apps. So have a look at apps. I know that there's things such as a money dashboard. There's a lot of other options I'm not personally used, so I can't really recommend something I've not actually used. But of course, I have used my personal finance and budgeting tracker, and for me, it's a game changer. But whatever you decide to use, the most important thing is to start tracking your spending. Not just when all the money has run out and you're like, oh my gosh, where's my money gone? But before that, start tracking your spending. So that is the first tip I want to give to you. Get intentional with your money. Things are going to get more expensive. If you've not started to feel the pinch yet, you're going to feel it very soon. And now is the time to really get organized, especially where we are at the beginning of the year. If you're someone that says, I'm not good with money, understand this. You can learn. It is a skill. It comes naturally to some people, but again, for most of us, learning how to manage our money is a skill. It is something that we have to work on. So if you're not good with money, if you have debts, you can work on being better at that, but it takes you making that time for that. So don't say to yourself, I'm not good with money, full stop. No, you may not be good with money now, but if you are intentional, you can start to develop habits which are going to help you to manage your money better. And of course, watching content like my videos and others is going to help you. That's like the first steps you can take. Now, the next tip I want to give you is to get savvy. Something I've started to do recently is really utilizing cashback websites. So one of the things that I use is airtime rewards, which my husband recommended me, and that has been such a game changer, especially when I took a staycation last year to Bath. I was actually able to get a cashback on our hotel stay. So for the last 2 months, I have not had to pay my phone bill because I've had about £40 in cashback that I was able to use to pay towards my phone bill. Hence why it's called airtime rewards. You are able to exchange that cash to actually go towards your phone bill. So I've been in credit for the last 2 months and I'm on my way to having my next £10, which I'll then be able to put towards my phone bill. So my aim this year is to use as much cashback options as I can so that I can spend a lot less on my phone bill throughout this year. Another thing I've been using recently is called Top Cashback, but I haven't used it that often, so I can't give you a full review on that just yet, but perhaps I will in the future. So utilize cashback websites, and also even with your bank. I know that with my Halifax account, I know that they have cashback options for lots of different stores that we commonly shop at. So utilize those. You will be surprised at how sometimes those little purchases that you make that you think are insignificant, when it comes to these cashback websites and apps, it can make such a huge impact. Now, again, of course, do your research into anything you sign up for, especially if you're someone who's very concerned about your data. Make sure you read their data protection policy and all of that good stuff. But definitely have a look into that and get savvy. Sometimes we can save money on things, but we just don't know because we're ignorant to it. So definitely have a look into those options. Get savvy, save money where you can. It really will make such a difference, especially if you have a very tight budget right now. Another thing to add on from what I said previously was also the fact that now is the time to look around at other suppliers. If you are paying a lot of money, especially for things like gas and electricity, I know that fuel prices are going to increase over the next couple of months. So if you're already spending a lot of money, don't be afraid to shop around, to look around at what other providers are actually offering at the moment. If you can reduce 10 or 20 pounds that you pay every month, that's going to make a huge difference over the course of the year. So definitely shop around. Now is not the time to just be thinking about, oh, I've been a loyal customer for 20 years. That's great. But if they're not giving you loyalty customer fees, then it might be time to start shopping around. And again, of course, read the reviews. I'm the kind of person, whenever I'm going to go to a restaurant, I'm going to check something out, I love to see the reviews. I want to see what customers are saying about that particular company, because the worst thing you can do is switch from a supplier you're happy with to go somewhere cheaper, and then you find that the service is not good. So of course, it's a balance of things. We want to save money, but at the same time, we want to make sure we're getting a good service as well. Definitely do your research before you switch suppliers. Don't just switch because it's cheaper, but do your due diligence to ensure that the service and quality is going to be just as good, because you don't want any unnecessary headaches in 2022. Now, the third tip I want to give you, if you haven't already started is start putting your money to work. Now, what does that mean if you've never heard that term before? Start investing your money into things that are going to cause your money to grow. That's what it means by putting your money to work. The same way that you work for a job and you get paid at the end of the month, start putting your income to work for you. And now there are many, many different types of investing. You can invest in the stock market, you can invest in real estate, you can invest in art, fine art. There are so many different types of things that you can invest in, and there are options that don't require a lot of capital to get started. So for example, investing in the stock market, you don't need to have tens and thousands of pounds to start. When I started investing at the end of 2019, which sounds so close, but it's actually a good couple of years ago now, I started investing with less than £10. And if I had realized just how accessible the market was, I probably would have started sooner. But then again, hindsight and all that stuff. But the point is, you don't need a lot of money to start. And if you have money that perhaps you have sitting there that's getting minimal interest right now, that you're not planning to use within the next, let's say, 5 years or so, put some of that money to work for you. There are so many different options when it comes to investing. I speak about the stock market because it's one of the most accessible forms, especially if you do not have a lot of money to get started. And again, it's all about risk. There is no investment that does not have risk. If someone tells you that, be very cautious if that's really an investment or not, because again, everything carries risk, and it's all about managing your risk and minimizing your risk. If you're starting off in investing, do your due diligence. But a couple of things that you can look at in terms of getting started is investing in exchange traded funds such as the S&P 500, the FTSE 100. I'm also invested in the VWRL. And again, this is you being able to invest in multiple companies that are in one type of investment product. So it's not just you investing in one particular company, say Tesla or Apple, and if that company doesn't do well, it's going to affect your profit. When you invest in an exchange traded fund, you're essentially invested in more than one company, which is a great way to minimize your risk. And it's a great way to start as a new investor, especially if you don't have a lot of money to get started. So do your research and start putting your money to work. One of the things that I invest in, which I absolutely love, is called REIT. So it's real estate investment trust. So that's basically where you invest in companies that do own real estate. So it's almost like I own a little bit of real estate in the market, and I get paid a dividend every quarter. And just seeing how much my dividend has grown from quite a small holding that I have is actually been really inspirational. So now I'm focusing on building up my REIT holding so that my dividend is going to be a lot higher. My last dividend, guys, was a whopping £2 something, but that was passive income, and that £2, I could actually buy something with that. So for me, it was just really eye-opening to see that while my money can actually work for me, I've received that. Like, it seems small now, and it is small, but in future, that's going to continue to grow. So definitely now is a time to start researching to understand more about investments. And if that's something you're not sure of, we're so fortunate now in the information age. You can research online about investing and knowing the basics. I also have a video speaking about that. And I do have a workshop that I did a couple of months ago for new investors, for beginners, breaking down all the jargon. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, I'll also put the link to that workshop, which you can grab yourself a copy. So you can learn to invest for £15 or even less. So I'll definitely put that in the description and you can check that out. Now, the last tip I want to give you is to explore your career and income opportunities. Now, there's only so much you can do with your current budget, with your current income. If you have one fixed income each month, there's not much you can do to really increase that if you're in a job that doesn't pay you a commission or a monthly bonus. So now is the time to start exploring, to look at your income sources and really start to think, okay, what can I do to increase my income? The cost of living is increasing, and if your income is not increasing in line with that, you're actually working at a deficit. So that's definitely something to look at. So really explore in your career, are there opportunities for you to grow? And what are those opportunities? Is it within your current company? Is it time to start looking outside and seeing what is available in the market? What jobs are there to offer internally or even externally? And also looking at yourself and your experience. What can you do to leverage yourself in your career? Are there courses, maybe that your company's doing, or even online? What can you do to upskill yourself so that you can actually take yourself to another level in your career? If you're in a career that is quite limited and there aren't many opportunities, don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to switch up a career change. What I'm doing today is completely different to what I was doing a couple of years ago, and I never imagined I would. And honestly, I am loving this journey. I'm loving this journey of teaching people how to manage their finances. It's the most rewarding job I've ever had in my life. And quite frankly, this business doesn't feel like a job. But the point is, that happened by taking a risk. That happened by putting myself out there. And it was very scary. And at times I even think, do I really want to do this? But it's been really rewarding. So ultimately, start looking at your career and income opportunities. Are there potential things that you can do to increase your income each month? Maybe starting a side hustle. Now, I know side hustles are not for everyone. You may have very limited time, lots of responsibilities, so you might not even have time for extra side hustles. But perhaps there are things you can do outside of that in terms of changing your career, having a position that's going to pay you more money. And of course, in theory, this sounds easy, and know that it's going to require work to make that happen. But this is just to really get your brain thinking about what you can do. We can complain all we want about cost of living increasing, but if we don't actually take action for ourselves, we are going to feel the effects of it. So start reflecting and don't allow maybe your circumstances or how you feel about yourself in terms of what you have to offer to stop you. Sometimes you may think, oh, but who's going to want me? I've been in this company for a long time, or I don't have a degree. Don't allow things like that to stop you, because trust me, there will be the right employer for you. So do not allow that to stop you. Sometimes we allow being comfortable to hold us hostage to situations we're not happy with. So if you're not happy within your career, or perhaps you are happy in your career, but you want to make some extra money, have a look into freelancing. Have a look at, what skills do I have? We all have skills. And if you say, PK, I ain't got no skills, I'm sure there is something that you are good at that you could actually do. Maybe it's something basic. Maybe you're good at cooking, but a lot of people aren't good at cooking, but it's a necessity. We need food, right? And maybe that's something that you could actually charge for in order to get money. So again, get creative and start reflecting on what are your talents, your skills, things that you can do to leverage yourself so that you can make more money and be able to really put your finances in the best possible position. Now, I really hope that you guys found today's video useful. Definitely let me know in the comments any topics you'd like me to cover in future videos. And if you do have a side hustle, let me know in the comments, what is your side hustle? What are you doing? So that you can inspire us and we can all learn and grow together and level up in our finances. Now, I've been thinking, guys, about doing a video speaking about what I would invest in if I just started investing today. So what I'd invest in if I had £100 to invest, £200 or £500. If this is something you're interested in, let me know, and I definitely want to record a video on it, but I want to actually know that people are interested. Now, anyways, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in my next video. You already know, if you do like the video, please leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel.